Yes, hello members, you are most welcome. I do appreciate you all, my viewers and subscribers, for the good work you are doing. I hope Almighty God has kept you always alive and kicking. I'm so proud of you because I am here for you and you are there for me. We are working antagonistically, or we are working together. The learners who are there watching, the teachers and the parents, you are most welcome to the next session. I told you that in my page is where you are going to get simplified application of mathematics. Remember, mathematics has become so much applied. People now move into that trend of application, and that's where our learners have issues on how they can comprehend these application questions. But in my page, when you subscribe, you will always get these lessons. Most of them are about application questions, and you'll find yourself getting used on application and how to handle knowledge time and again. Now, today I've come with something very interesting, that is about simple interest. Simple interest is something that is in our daily lives. Our parents, those who are the young ones who are there, you know very well, our parents have bank accounts. They save money in different groups. Actually, everywhere we have the thing taking place. So that is application that we are talking about in our daily lives. We want to look at some question. Last time when we were talking about simple interest, I explained to you most of those things, and I told you that with the simple interest, uh, it's all about someone putting in money, that is depositing, that means, or lending, that one becomes your principal. We talked about this, and we said that money can stay in the bank in a certain period of time, and it's called it's of course termed as time, that period that it takes. We always have it there. Then that percentage charge of the interest that is always put is what we call the rate, and then at the amount you get at the end of it all is, after calculating your simple interest, they add it to your principal, then you will get that amount of money we are talking about. In this case now, I want to look at this question. They are saying that Juma deposited money in the bank. Juma deposited the money in the bank. I told that with application questions, you always need to move step by step. This man that Juma deposited is what we are calling the principal. I told you the money that you deposit is what we call the principal. He deposited money in a bank which offers a simple interest rate. Juma deposited money in the bank which offers a simple interest rate. So it offers a simple interest rate of 2%, 2.5% per annum. Per annum, I told you, is when somebody says per annum, the same as the other one who says per year, is the same as the other one who says annually, is the same as the other one who says each year, and the same as the other one who says every year. Each year, every year, annually, per annum, that one all means the same thing. So you should not get scared, because 2.5% per year. After 9 months, his account had an amount of shillings 163,000. After 9 months, that is at the period of time the money stayed in the bank. After 9 months, his account had an amount of shillings 163,000. So that is the amount he had after a period of 9 months. Yes, remember, they have not told us amount of money that he has deposited, or they have not told us the principal. That's why here we have nothing. Then what about the interest that he got? We also don't know. They have not given us the interest that he was able to fetch from that amount of money, which we don't know that he put in the bank. But we are able to be told that the amount of money he got after a period of 9 months was shillings 163,000. 163,000 is the amount of money he picked at the end of the period that was 9 months. Therefore, we learned last time that simple interest is given by principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time. Remember I told you that some of us those days we used to put out of 100, but I told you it's not advisable because rate itself is already out of 100. This is a symbol of percentage, meaning that a 2.5 every 100 or per 100 or per cent. So every 100 we calculate the rate according to every 100. So there's no need to put 100. When you put 100 here, it means you are repeating. You are writing something twice. You have to express 100. Again, you leave the other 100, which is not right. So when you say principal times rate times 100, rate already is out of 100%. Now, simple interest is not given. Principal is not given. We have the rate and we have the time. Now remember, calculating when we are getting a value of a given unknown, we cannot have two unknowns in a given equation. So meaning that since we are lacking the principal, we are lacking the simple interest, that root cannot work for us. Instead, we are going to look at this root where we always say amount is equals to principal plus simple interest. Principal plus simple interest. Remember, we don't have both of them. But simple interest itself can be expressed in terms of its formula up here. Simple interest can be expressed in terms of its formula up here, which is principal times rate times time. We have rate, we have time. So we shall only lack one thing. But if we use this formula, we shall have something which looks like this. We shall have amount, which is shillings 163,000 equals to principal, which we don't know, plus simple interest. Simple interest is given by principal times rate times time. Yes, principal times rate times time. Remember, we don't have simple interest, we don't have principal, but we have the total amount of money given there as 163,000. So what we are supposed to do, we now substitute what is available. We have shillings 163,000 equals to principal, which we don't know, plus principal, which we don't know, times rate. Rate is 2.5%. I told you percent means after. If you put out of 100, don't now put again the symbol of percent there, times 9 out of 12. Yes, you are about to ask, why are we putting 9 out of 12? Remember that when we have rate, which is charged per annum or per year, the time should also be per year. The time should be in years. It should match. Assuming that the rate was per month, would not put 9 out of 12. Why? Because they were matching. They were all in month. We are just trying to match them to be in the same units. If it is time here per month, rate is per year, you express 9 out of 12, because when we are changing month into years, we divide by 12. When we have month and we're expressing into years, we divide by 12, because 1 year has 12 months. Then when we're expressing from years to month, we multiply by 12, because 1 year has 12 months. That's why I'm telling you that we should be very careful when calculating these numbers. It will give us a very good move as we are going on. Now from this point, I want to assure you that this is principal plus principal, but please don't add them. According to BODMAS, you first multiply. Remember, this principal is being multiplied by whatever you're seeing here first before we add it to the other principal. I hope we are moving on well there. I want us to be very careful, because what you are doing here is what will direct you in the right way. So shillings 163,000 equals to principal plus principal. You change this one to improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1, which is 5 out of 2. Divide by 100 times 9 out of 12. So when you have that, you now say shillings 163,000 equals principal plus principal times 5 out of 2 times 1 out of 100. The reciprocal, when we are dividing, remember we can get the reciprocal. We are dividing 5 out of 2 by 100. So we get the reciprocal of this 100. Any number without a denominator is assumed to be out of denominator of 1. So from there, we have that. Now we can reduce. we can reduce something. Shillings 163,000 equals principal plus principal. Always leave a stage to stand on its own stand step, such that you can avoid missing those marks. In case of any error that you make here, they don't deny you mark in the standing stage. You can lose the rest, but when it's stage, if it deserves the mark, you'll get it. But when you divide that at that stage, then you wrongly divide, you lose even the marks for that stage that's supposed to be given. So by 3, you have 4. By 3, you have 3 here. Then by 5, you have 1 here. By 5, you have 20 here. I hope we would have reduced it to what at least can be done. Then we have shillings 163,000 equals to principal plus, you multiply principal, this p times 1 times 1 times 3, which is 3p, out of 2 times 20 times 4. 2 times 20 times 4. That is the denominator you are seeing there. Yes. Remember this one, this p, sorry here, this p is not under this denominator yet. This p is alone, which is 2 multiplied by 20 multiplied by 4. This is plus. Are we together? Now at this stage here is where we are going to give this an also denominator of 1. Then we say shillings 163,000 equals to the LCM of these numbers. 2 times this is already 80, this is 160. 4 times 20 is 80 plus 2 is 160. So the LCM is 160. LCM of 160 and 1 is 160. Now you divide 160 by 1 times p, which is 160p. 160 divided by 160, this is 160, remember. Or if you want us to put it direct like this, we can have it there as 160. 160 divided by 160 times 3p. This one gives you 3p. Now at that stage, we can now have shillings 163,000 equals to 163p, 160 plus 3p out of 160. You all know that from this step here is where you can cross multiply. Shillings 163,000 equals to 163p out of 160. You multiply here by 160, even here you multiply by 160. So this 160, when it cancels, you have something like that. Then you will have 160 multiplied by 163. Remember, these are shillings, don't forget. These are shillings, equals to 163p. So don't multiply. To make it easy, you just divide by 163. Remember, the value of p, this is 163. So this is 163. You have 1 here. Then you have shillings 160 times 163,000 out of 163 equals to p. So this is 163, 163, 163 by 163. A number divided by itself is 1. This is 1, this is 1. So don't forget the 3 zeros there. All together. Now this is 160 times 1,000. You see? So this will be shillings 160, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 160 times 1,000 is 160,000 equals to p. Remember what was this p? This p was principal, and we said principal is the amount of money deposited. They are saying calculate the amount of money deposited. So you can now say he deposited shillings 160,000. That's the amount of money Juma deposited in the bank that gave him an amount of 163,000. I told that when you're calculating this question, you just need to be very careful. At a certain stage is where many learners always tend to mess up here. body mass is very important here. They want to add P plus P. When you add P plus P, definitely you will get a challenge and your answer will not be right. Now, when you follow these steps very well, reduce it from here to reduce the number, so the number should not be too bulky for you to divide. At this stage here, you can now see how you solve very well and get your answer properly. Follow the rules of division, follow the rules of body mass, and follow everything. Remember, when now they ask you part B, that how much interest did Juma get? How much interest did Juma get? Now, after knowing the principal being 160,000, we now know that amount is equals to principal plus simple interest. Amount is 163, principal is 160, simple interest. So to get simple interest, you subtract 163 minus 160. So the interest becomes 3,000. Very simple like that, without any problem. 163 minus 160, that means he was given an amount of shillings 3,000 as an interest for the money he deposited. So I wish that we move on well and everything happens the way it's supposed to be done. So I'm going to give you this exercise you are seeing right there. You also try it out and see how best you can apply this and do the right thing, how we can always move and apply this knowledge very well. I want to urge everyone that these questions are not hard. It is we human beings who become hard sometimes. But let us not complicate things. Let us move the things slowly and make sure that children are simplified it too, to an extent that they can easily understand. This is work which commonly can be done by P6 and P7 children. We believe at this time they will have learned how to divide. They will have learned the other part of simple interest. That's why moving here now becomes very easy, because remember, we start from known to unknown, from simple to complex. We move in that stage so that we are able to pick the things very well. From each stage, a learner should always memorize, should always understand, not cram. Thank you very much. May the Almighty God bless you, and thank you for attending.